Hello everyone. Welcome to another .NET and AI community stand-up. Today we are going to talk about the super shiny and new agent framework. I'm here with Zach, and I see people joining from Jose from Brazil, Zach from Greensboro. Then we have Luke in New Zealand. Oh my God, New Zealand, that's far away. Then Khaled from California, Glauter from Brazil also here. So, hey, hello everyone. Once again, thanks for being here. I am in a hotel room, so this is why you see me here in the super weird layout, crossing finger to don't have any. Internet is working fine, but crossing fingers so I don't jinx it. And I need to introduce myself. We are going to talk about agent framework. My name is Bruno Capuano. I'm part of the .NET Advocates team, and I'm here with Zach. Zach, hello.
Hi, Zach Way. I am one of the cloud solution architects on the oil, gas, and energy team here in the MCAPS division.
Yes, and I need to thank Zach also a lot because we were talking about the agent framework. I've been traveling a lot, and I said, I really want to do this episode. I think I missed the last one, traveling and more, so I want to do this. And I say, who wants to talk with me about the agent framework? And as soon as I press enter, Zach said, I'm in. So here we are. And also, spoiler, he has a super cool project, personal project. Keep me honest there, we won't tell everything, but it was built on semantic kernel, now moved to agent framework, and hey, we can talk about that because I think that's one of the questions that I've been having a lot last week. How about migrations and more? So, did I say it right, Zach? Keep me honest.
So it's Lucy is the name of it. It's named after the Nordic sun goddess from like way ancient times. So.
Okay, perfect. Hey, I like it. Okay, so let's start with this. Let me grab use presenter view, automatic primary monitor. Let's start to ask a question to everyone. Let me share my screen about how many people of you are. By the way, I see most people. Ravi's here also. Jacint here also. So how many people know about the agent framework? I will tell my story there. That is. It was presented last week on the. Let me share my screen. Add to stay. There it is. It was presented last week in the AI tour in Toronto. I literally arrived to Toronto when they were talking about that to do my sessions and more. Internally, we've been working on this for a decent amount of time, but I was wondering how many people know about this. So I have Luke, Cecil saying hi here, or maybe saying that they know what this is about. In the meantime, let's do a quick start of what is agent framework. And we are, and remember, we are not doing slides here, but I just want to set up the context here. Agent framework, as the name said, is to create agents. And in an agent, we have the three main parts, which are the LLMs that we are using, GPT, Llama, or whatever. I can write also and show a sample here using a local model in Llama. And then we have instructions to define how the agent is going to behave, and tools. The tools are the part when we connect the agent with external APIs, with databases, and more. The agent actions, the agent flows, the agent whatever are going to be triggered by inputs or maybe a recurring event or another agent call. And at the end, when they do their stuff, they're going to have a response. Again, this is kind of the fastest and not very good definition of an agent. But what we really like about this is that we get to a point that when we build agents, the agent can reason, act, and learn. And this is what we try to do with the agent framework, to provide a framework in .NET, Python, and I think we're going to have other languages soon that can help everybody build their agents. Of course, the agent that we are going to support and show sometimes are going to be based on AI Foundry agent libraries. But if you want to run your agents like you did in semantic kernel without any backend system, just doing LLM, you can also do that. So so we have tons of students. This is the part where we talk about a lot about agents. I am looking for one. This is the one that I want, the slide that I want. Why do we want to have the framework? First of all, if you are a code first person, and I am a code first person, it's nice to have an SDKs that basically give you that access, give you the chance to build your stuff. You can test also a lot if you are using an example in VS Code, the AI toolkit. one of the options when you create an agent in the AI toolkit is to export to use the agent framework. So we are slowly putting agent framework here and there because it's nice to experiment, in example, locally with the GitHub model and then switch to the model in Foundry. And the last part is that move to local to the cloud without rewrites. I will say yes. Maybe there are minor tweaks here and there, configuration and more, but you are not going to lock into a vendor, which is important. So let me also find another part important that is, this is the agent framework. And in case you don't know or people don't know, the agent framework is open source. Of course, we are going to share the URL of the repo soon. I think it's part of the video resources. And important, it's based on the best. I don't want to see merge. I don't want to say that it's a merge between semantic framework and AutoGen, but people who are very, very much more intelligent than myself pick up the best of semantic kernel and the best of AutoGen, and they put it there in what we have in public preview, which I think it's a nice start. I don't know, Zach, have you been doing agents for a long time? What is your relationship?
I have. Yeah, so I started writing agents as soon as semantic kernel went public preview. So I've been working, and even before that, I was writing. I wrote a workflow when GPT-3.5 first went live, that basically worked as a chatbot to process documents through a multi-step process. And so I classified the question from the user, ran it through a quick, parser, and then basically faked what tools are now. Back before any of that stuff was available. So it's definitely stuff I've been playing with for 2 years now.
Yes, and I like the idea that today I just finished I did a session around, we were talking about the MCP, and if I had to suggest people to learn some stuff today, I will say that go and learn MCP as a concept, use the C# SDK and more, and also learn about agents. And there is a good question here from Cecil. I'm so sorry, my second screen is so far away that to read this, I need some kind of lens, but Cecil is asking here, what does this framework add on top of Microsoft Extension for AI? So the whole idea, I can't remember the full namespace in my head, but I think it's Microsoft Extension AI Agent. So the AI part for the chat clients and more is going to keep being Microsoft Extension for AI. So if you are creating your chat clients with Olama, Azure Foundry, or whatever, that part is the same. On top of that, the agent part is the one that basically provides you the tools. Sorry, I'm going to be redundant here. Provides you the tool to add tools to your agents, to add resources and more. But that's kind of the idea. It's still part of Microsoft Extension for AI, and it's also very, very focused on let's keep and unified. It uses also the abstraction approach that we have in other frameworks and more. And I really, really like it. So because we are in a developer session, let me stop with the slides there. And let's create our first, not create, I am going to show some code here. Where is oh my God, my screens are a mess. So let me show you the hello world. Where is my Visual Studio? There it is. So I write a couple of very, very simple samples here so we can take a look at this. And also I will advise everyone to read Luis' post. Oh, this is not Luis. Let me find Luis. Where is Luis? So this is Luis' post. By the way, Luis is not here today. He wanted to be here, but he couldn't make it. And let me share the links here. It's also in the blog resources. But this is a very nice AVC. And let me move myself and suck away a little. This is a nice AVC of agent framework, how it works, how you can orchestrate your agent. Again, the intro about an agent is going to use a model, it's going to use tools, and you're going to have some context. And what I like is that besides all of this, the AVC, the lines of code that you need to do to create an agent are literally this. And it's nice on the whole idea that, of course, an agent is powered by an LLM. So we are going to create an iChat client. That's it. And you can create an iChat client to point, like in example here, a GitHub model or AI Foundry or OpenAI or Olama, whatever. Last time we were talking with the people from LLM Tornado, I know that they mentioned that they're going to expose also their chat clients as iChat clients. So once they are there, you can use that. And once you have this, the nice part, the second part is, okay, now you can start to define your agents. That is going to use the chat client, that's Microsoft Attention for AI, and then you have some option with the writer, with the name, the instructions. Later you can add tools and more. So it's very, very, as I like to think that this is a very, very simple way to literally write an agent. Of course, you can complicate, you can make this a little more complicated and more if you want, but with 10 lines of code, you can write this. And if you want to ask the agents to do something, you literally do some writer, run async. This is the agent, run async, and you had a short, whatever. I can't remember what is the idea here. Short story about the haunted house. So what I like to do, because I am not in a very comfortable setup, usually I like to live code this. I created already these demos. And if we go to take a look at the packages that we installed for this is a console application. Again, Microsoft Agents for AI. Sorry, it's not, my Summit is not working. Come on, Summit, there it is. Microsoft Attention for AI. We are in version 1.0 preview, so we are here. And it will bring Microsoft Extension for AI, OpenAI, user secrets, OpenAI. It will bring a couple of other ones. And this is just search for this. And the lines of code that I have here is, I am going to use GitHub tokens. I'm going to use GitHub model, sorry. So I hope my token is still valid. And then let's create a chat client as we saw before. And then let's create an agent, write a story that are engaging and creative about a character name. What was the name of your solution, Zach? Lucy, you said?
Yeah. Lucia. Lucy is how it's pronounced.
Like this?
With an A.
With an A.
Yeah. There you go.
Lucia in Spanish. I like it. That's a very Spanish name for me. I have friends named Lucia. So this is how we are going to do. And then, sorry, this is write the stories. Let me copy this. And creative, and then write a story about a haunted house. Now, about haunted house with a character named Lucia. So I'm going to ask this, and this is going to run it. So let's start up, and let's start to do some debugging. I am going to take a look also at the comments very far away here, where Tal said, "Hey, very exciting." Hey, Tal, yes. I'm also excited here because I really, really believe that we have something that we can do with the agents, and I like to have a framework that is literally helping us to do this. So, okay, the cleaning part, oh my God, let's release the user secrets. As I said, let's cross fingers that my GitHub token is still valid, create the client, create the writer, create the story, and this is the moment that everything is going to happen on the back for us. So I have a question here. Take a look here about the mics. Is there a plan to make the executor use it, but agent workflow be the public? Really don't know. Let me add this into the question, and I will try to share something in LinkedIn later. But I don't know if you know something about this, Zach. It doesn't ring any bell for me. I probably need to check with the product team what they plans, if they have any plans for this.
So some of the executors are public, but obviously the code is there. So, implementing your own executor isn't too terribly difficult. I actually have been working on that myself, writing an executor for my orchestration solution.
Yes, I will say that you can take a look at your own. I'm sorry, the public one that we have here, and then write your own. But yes, it will depend on how much time you have there. I think the stuff that we have is already in the public repo, but I don't know what else are we going to plan. I mean, we are moving fast, we are moving very fast with this. Someone asked how soon this is going to be GA, and I will say very soon. Don't know the day, but it's going to be very soon. So wait, this is a story here I don't know why it gets Clara. I asked for Lucia. Where is Lucia? Somewhere here. I don't know. Maybe some. Oh, we have some Lucia here. I need to Lucia, sorry, Nelt. I need to figure out the story. But hey, this is an ABC of how you can write an agent. Again, 10 lines of code, and you have your first agent. You have a question here. Oh, thanks, Zach. Someone is asking question. Vines was asking a question about multimodal agents, can Mistral and Llama, for example. And yes, I will say that when you create your agent and you pass your chat client, you can pass the client created with models, with one model, and then another with another model and more. I haven't tested, but you think it? Yep. I think you said that this works. Yes, Zach?
Yeah, I was testing it the other day. Yeah, it works just fine. Yeah, I was calling 5.4 from GPT-5, for instance.
Perfect. Yes, again, everything that we know and love about Microsoft Extension for AI and the MCP C# SDK is already embedded here. So I try to figure out the comments and more. So if that supports MCP, yes, it supports MCP. MCP is kind of in the top 1 or top 2 priorities. It needs to be there. Everything is MCP today. So for AIs, we need to have MCP. And hey, that's a good question, Ravi, about besides Python and C#, other question. I will say that Java will come soon. I'm not on that part, but I will pick this question, put a pin, and ask the product team.
Yeah, so Java isn't coming this year, at least. It's not in the P0 release, but it is slated for P1. So,
hey, that's good to know. I didn't know about that, but yes, I will say that Java will have support. But yes, it's nice to know that it's in the plans. And other languages, I don't know, because it's moved mostly semantic kernel support Java. I know. I don't know if it was widely used. I need to ask with people about that. But the whole idea is that, hey, if you want to do agents, and maybe this is the agent framework to do this. And I know that LangChain and the other have support of this. Yeah. Okay, this is a good question about how this is different from semantic kernel. So the whole idea is that the agent framework is here to basically provide the best of semantic kernel, and AutoGen, which was also other very, very popular framework to do agents. And it's different on top that what you had and miss in semantic kernel from AutoGen is going to be here. That's kind of a good way to define. That said, probably someone is going to ask the question about, hey, is this mean that semantic kernel is going to be deprecated and no use and more? No, semantic kernel still have a market. We are going to still continue support semantic kernel for the scenarios that already does. Here, in example, the agents are not going to implement their, or I don't know, in memory vector or whatever. But we may use the semantic kernel ones to do this as the same way that we use the MCP C# SDK and the Microsoft Extension for AI. So we put it all together, but this one is clearly focused on agents.
Yeah, to add to that, Bruno, the other thing that you'll find that makes this considerably different is this is much more like LangGraph.
Yes.
But in the way that you construct workflows and chain together agents versus the way that semantic kernel works with, what do they call it? Prompt plans and stuff like that.
Yes, I don't know detail, but I know what you mean. And yes, it's closer to that. Keeping up with the question, before we move forward, say, can we make our own agent that is not linked to any known vendors? Yes, I mean, let me show you my Ollama agent, which is the same agent that we just see, but instead of creating the chat client, let me put this one here. So let's zoom out here. So what we see here is that I create a client here with using the Ollama Sharp library, which is a client, but then here I create the clients using the credential and GitHub tokens. And in this one, everything else is the same. So I will run this. Let me start Ollama. I will run this locally using my Ollama resources, but nothing else is going to, I am not going to be tied to any vendor or anything. And also this agent is not an agent that is going to be deployed as an agent in Azure AI Foundry. This one is going to be a local agent, basically running using Llama 3.2. So let me go back to Olama. Let's clean the terminal. And
to add, the key requirement here is that your agent solution has to support the OpenAI API, basically SDK. So as long as it works with the OpenAI API, you can use pretty much anything out of the box. Cobalt, Olama, LLM Lite, all of them.
Yes, you can see here how my Olama in Docker is loading the model. This is a small model, Llama 3.2. And after started in 5 seconds, I tried to do the same yesterday with the GPT OSS demo, and it took literally 17 seconds to start the model and then a couple of minutes to give an answer. But then we have the response here with an agent using Olama. And this is an agent using a local model. And as you see, the Microsoft extension for AI part didn't change. That's the first part which is there. And I like it in terms that, hey, you don't need to change a lot of things. You just create a chat client and then use it in your agent. This one is running locally. Okay, let's stop that one here. And the next part that we talk, this is a good one, that the response only produced text.
So
yes,
you can do images. I was gonna say, you can do images, you can do image input, you can do real time with audio. It has full support for the entire platform at this point.
Oh, that's good. I haven't tested with real-time audio. I know that we have audio in our agents in Azure AI Foundry. Didn't know that we also have it here. So, hey, that's cool. I need to write a couple of demos on that because I've been doing a lot with real-time audio. And I will probably add into my crappy set of demos here an audio one that you can talk with an agent. I like it. I don't know if this is the question that you were asking, Cremo. Let us know if not about that, because we have a GPT model. Why not a GPT image model? Why not generate an image? And at the same time, if you have real-time audio, let's have a conversation about that. I will probably write a demo for I have a session tomorrow about that.
The only thing I can think of that might limit it, as far as I'm aware, it doesn't support the diffusion models like Stable Diffusion XL, that kind of stuff, but it does support the image generation models like GPT Image and
DALL-E?
Yeah, I was going to say DALL-E 3.
Yes, I will say DALL-E 3. And I don't know if we can use Flux right now. I'm a big fan of the Flux model. I know that we have it in Foundry. I need to see if it's there or not. But I think it's, as you mentioned
before. In theory,
before,
it should, because it does use the Cognitive Services API. So in theory, it should work at least through there.
Okay, that's good to know. I don't know if it's I know that we have it there. I use it in my crappy demos from MCP and more, but it will be nice to know if we can also use the Flux model. As we are talking, the important part here is that everything that is standard right now, and it follows some specification, the OpenAI chat client specification, or not chat client, the OpenAI chat completion specification, the MCP specification, and more, it's part of this. So if you have a model, if you have a service, if you have something that is complying with that, it should be good to go. Let me take a look at another question before we start. How will the I resolve correct for multiple chat clients? I mean, if when you create an agent, you assign one of your clients. I don't know if your question is more related of how you get one of your clients, but if you create a client and you use a key approach, when you have each one of your chat client with a name, that should be fine. Or maybe I'm missing something here.
That's exactly how I would do it as well, Bruno, is just use keyed services.
Yes, I don't know. Maybe Tal, if you can explain a little there, we may be missing something, but if you have, I don't know, I would probably say chat client GPT-4.1 mini, and another name will be chat client GPT-5 or something like this. And then when I get from the DI, I will say, give me the GPT-4.1 mini or whatever, and I get the right one. But maybe I'm missing something there. We have here, Guillermo is asking, can agent talk to multiple users? Is the native function for this? Again, I hate to do this answer. This is being bringing back to my consulting days. It's going to depend on how you implement this. I mean, the agent is there. You can create different instances of an agent. You can create different conversations to share with an agent. So it depends how you do it. But yes, probably not to do one single agent and a single collection of conversation to be shared around a lot of users. Otherwise, it will be a mess. But yes, they can talk to multiple users, that's for sure. Oh, this is a good one. Can it support files document for chat, context, and summarization? I don't have any of the tools demo up and running here, but I think I saw someone doing using tools and doing RAG within in-vector memory of PDF, the standard, the hello world of RAG, which is pick up to PDF and use it there. But I don't know if it's part of the samples in the documentation. Do you remember, Zach, if we have something around?
Out of box, I have not found, because we have two really nice plugins for semantic kernel. The Open API plugin that will convert any Open API into a plugin for semantic kernel, and we also have one for Azure Search, which will just hook up an Azure Search instance as a plugin for the tools. I haven't found that we have those extension methods created yet in the agent framework. I would expect that stuff to come pretty quickly after release, though, in an extensions package of some sort. It's just one of those things. You could build it right now out of the box, just implement it as a tool. But yeah, it's just not something available right now that you can just very quickly and easily hook up, unfortunately.
Yes, and just to move forward a little, because I also want to give some time to the docs. No, I don't want to docs. To Zach to talk about Lucy, the project. Following here, the next step when you create an agent is create different agents, orchestrate them. And in this scenario, what we have here is agents, AI workflows, and other packages to do the orchestration. And I'm expecting that we are going to have some third-party created ones and more covering probably some specific scenarios. And then when you write your code, it's basically you create an agent workflow builder for sequential, in example, first one and then the other, and then create a new as agent, and then you run that agent. This is very, very simple. We support in the documentation, they are explain what we have here, but I create here the agent, the writer, then the editor, and then I have here the workflow, as we mentioned, and then we run async there the input that we have, and we have the different steps of what we have. The main difference here is that, as we saw in the main documentation, is that we have another package from Microsoft Agents AI. It's not extension agent, as I mentioned at the beginning, it's Microsoft Agents AI, where we have the one that we used before, and then we have Agents AI workflows. We may search to see, oh my God, there are some updates already.
Yeah, the releases yesterday.
Yes, man.
It fixed the big bug that we had yesterday, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if you were using the A to A yesterday, it would not work.
Oh, cool. Didn't know about that.
Yeah.
I write this on Monday because with my friend Pablo, we run an office hours in Discos. So we write this literally kind of live code in there. So it's Monday and today is Wednesday, and we already have some updates. This is how fast we are doing this SDK. So hey, that's nice to know. And hey, I am not going to run this again what I'm using here, GitHub token, but you can have an idea of what we have. And again, I will advise everyone to take a look at the documentation. There is a lot of documentations here about we have tools here, connecting to agents and the tools. This is, if you've been using tools with chat clients, this is literally the same approach. And I'm guessing that internally it probably hook up this to the chat client. I haven't read the code, but that's probably what's going to happen when we do the chat completion. And we have here some MCP, web API, how we do this in a web format. And where is my link? Okay, I like this one. I haven't run this in Aspire, but everything that we have right now in Aspire to do in Aspire 9.5, that to do AI information in the dashboard and more internal observability is also going to be part of this. And they have a nice, okay, this is how you're going to see your calls to your agents where you have a model calling a tool, then a model calling a tool again, and then you have here the nice new viewer for AI where you can see all of the conversation here, where you have the system message, the user assistant, and they don't have any tool here. Oh, there it is, a tool call here where you have this. I don't have it running with agent. I have this running with other stuff, but it's kind of nice to do an evaluation. But I wanted to take a look at the documentation. There it is. Where if you want to know more, this is the place to go. And let me zoom this. And by the way, this is probably the question number 2 that we have here. Why another agent framework? And this is the main answer, as I already told. We already talked about this with you and Zach, that the best of semantic kernel AutoZen about AI agents, it's here for everyone here. But this is a cool way to, okay, how you can do agents, create an agent, do a multi-turn conversation, function tool with MCP, structural output. There are plenty of demos and documentations that we have for this, and I know that we are doing more. And as Zach mentioned, we even fixed a bug in the last 2 days about something that I didn't even know that we have there. Oh my God, so many questions. Let me try to take a look at this. In the meantime, let me remove this, and I try to take a look at the questions here.
Yassine asked how to link up MCP servers in the AI agent. It's relatively straightforward. You just use the MCP client that's part of the model context protocol package, and there is a list tools async that retrieves the tools in the same format that the Microsoft extensions package uses, and then from there you can, which you also have to reference Microsoft Extensions AI to get it in that format. It's an extension method added. From there, you take and pass off that tool collection to your agent, and that's wired up. Now that agent can use your MCP tools.
Yes, and by the way, the MCP tools are literally, I can't remember if you need to convert them or not. I haven't done this in a while, but the MCP tools that when you pass it to the iChat clients, that's it. That's a collection. The only advice there is don't be crazy with the tools. You don't want to have 1,000 tools in your collection. Otherwise, the context of the LLM is not going to resolve what you want to do. So, but again, it's learning experience and more. Like this one is, what is the recommended way to store client history? And there are any links that will be great. One of the links in the documentation, let me go back to the documentation, because I think I saw this literally yesterday, is, let me go back here and then we go to Zach, is literally persisting and resuming agent conversation. So thanks, Khalid, because you literally make, this is not prepared, by the way, sounds prepared, but this is not prepared, but this is what I like. And I also like this one, the last one that I read about adding memory to an agent, that is basically, I think in this one that they persist with the vector store. In one of these, they persist the conversation in a vector store, so you can later check and search about that. So there are a couple of links here in the official documentation that can help on that topic. And I'm going to try to read all of the questions that we have there to try to answer them. But I want to ask Zach if, hey, do you want, because we want to show your stuff, do you want me to share your screen?
Yeah. I was going to say some of these questions I'll actually be covered through.
Oh, cool.
What I'm going to go over anyways. So want to talk a little bit about the migration process from semantic kernel to agent framework. I, along with many other CSAs here, built a hackathon that we put on for clients that teaches you how to use the semantic kernel framework. And so obviously we were asked to build this on semantic kernel or agent framework as well. So the semantic kernel, the agent framework team, getting confused back and forth. There is a prompt that they added that will actually migrate a project for you using GitHub Copilot. And this was really cool to see. So this prompt, and I ran the project that we use, went through and migrated the entire project for me step by step. And you can kind of see here some of the changes. Like for instance, one of the things you'll see here is there's no more chat history. That's something that you have to basically handle yourself. So we just create a list here. There's no more OpenAI prompt execution settings. All that specific platform stuff gets abstracted away now. You don't have the kernel anymore. We do have threads now, which is interesting new concept that works kind of like a persistable chat history. The other thing you'll see here that kind of goes away is the agent builder is a little bit easier to use than the semantic kernel builder. Basically, like you said, it's as simple as getting a chat client and then just passing create agent with your instructions and agent name and then your tool collection. This is one of the things that I'm not personally too very happy with right now, but there is discussions around solving this. The way that you set up plugins in Agent Framework right now, for every method in a class, you have to add that plugin tool separately. There is a really nice little sample tool provider that somebody has in the GitHub repo that basically uses reflection to make it a little bit cleaner for you, which is why you can see here in ours. Let's see, where was it? Chat Razor down here, setup tools. We're just calling tool provider create from type. What you would normally have to do here is you would have to add each tool individually to your list of AI tools and then pass it to the AI chat options, right? So it's something that, there's a helper method that's in a discussion on the repository, but I think it's something that, we'd like to see pulled into the framework, because over there on the semantic kernel side, we had nice, easy helpers like that. But aside from that, most of these changes are really straightforward. Instead of, adding the assistant message through chat history, we iterate it through the response that way. You know, it's going to feel very familiar. It's going to look very similar. There's a few other minor changes, like instead of message.content, it's message.text. Outside of that, you're going to remove a lot of stuff. Like, you don't have these kernel function names. It's going to automatically infer the name from the name of your method for you now. So that makes it a little bit nicer, just less code you have to maintain. But yeah, so that is something I highly recommend if you're doing an upgrade, is check out that prompt that's in the base repository and use GitHub Copilot. Just tell it to run this prompt and it'll do a really good job of like upgrading everything for you.
Yes, and if you can share later the link of the prompt, Zach, I am going to add it into the video resources so people can know it where to
and I'll stick that in the chat, and then obviously I'll have to send it over to you. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to show was kind of an example. This is an app that I've been working on for on and off a couple of years now. And this is basically comes from my frustration with most of the out of the box solutions that everybody uses for home automation today. I got frustrated with the fact that Alexa was constantly trying to advertise to me, and Google's AI isn't much better. So I have a full home assistant setup that has my entire platform configured here. I have solar energy. Yeah, I've gone kind of crazy with my home automation platform. But the out of the box experience with Home Assistant with their Assist AI, it works okay most of the time. The problem is that when you have as many devices as I do, and if you understand the way that Home Assistant works, so I have 196 devices, which explodes to 1,200 entities. So 1,200, the way that Home Assistant works is when you expose a device to your AI, you have to expose every single device and every single entity, and it dumps it all into a prompt. And it's like when you have a very large setup like mine does, you're just going to use a massive amount of context, right? And it just doesn't work great. So one of the things I started doing was, back when I started learning semantic kernel, was trying to build a solution in semantic kernel to do the same thing, right? And break up that that task into much smaller tasks, because using a single orchestration agent that says, hey, I have this agent that knows about my lights, and this agent that knows about my climate control, and this agent that knows about my music, and et cetera, all the way through, you can chunk that up and break it out into a collection of smaller and smaller agents, which give you much, much better results. It gives you better, cheaper inference, because you can use smaller models. It's just much, much better at it, right? So instead of using a single LLM, you use multiple smaller agents. So I've gone through and started the migration of my project over to Agent Framework and open source it at the same time. So I have 2 agents here today that are defined. So I have a light agent that controls my lights, and it has a single collection of skills. And this is just a collection of, let me minimize some of this stuff. Um, Basically, a couple of AI functions, tools that I've created, one that allows it to find lights, one that allows it to get the state of a light, and one that allows it to set the state of the light. The other thing that I've done that out of the box Home Assistant doesn't do is my find lights will use embeddings to do a best match search using cosine similarity. So that basically, if you say living room and somebody else calls it the den, it's most likely still going to come back okay. Same thing with like bathroom and restroom. Those types of things will help solve that problem. So these are the bunch of skills, and they're wired up to an agent, and the agent just has basically a set of instructions. It's like, hey, you're responsible for my lights, you have access to these controls. When your uh, user asks you to find a light, make sure you go find the light first before you just decide you don't know that it exists. um, and some other instructions here, basically, right? Then I have this agent discovery setup. And so basically I'm injecting the agents, and I go through and map the A to A. So the thing that I wanted to do here was build this so that it uses the A to A framework. And the reasoning behind that is I wanted this to be easy for me to support and build. And in the uh, the front end side of things, because it needed to connect to Home Assistant, right? So it uses Home Assistant. Yep, here we go. So this uses I think it's the A to A SDK out of the box to connect. And so that's the other thing that you'll find out. Agent Framework is very much built on standards. So because of that, let me show you here, this API, for instance, follows the exact standards. And so this is written with the Python open A to A SDK from Google from the client side, but I'm using Agent Framework on my back end. And so you can see here, for instance, that I can pull my agents and I get agent cards. And so these agent cards will work with any A to A based framework solution out there. So when we release, for instance, Copilot Studio's A to A support, uh, that should be coming somewhat soon, you can wire up your agents using A to A just out of the box without having to change anything. Super, super nice. And then the other thing you can see is I can very easily just come in here and send test endpoints, that kind of stuff. So I've got, you've got the basic REST endpoint, which is at /message:/send. But then you also have the JSON RPC endpoint, which obviously doesn't have documentation out of the box, but supports JSON RPC. So and all of that was done with that very simple map A to A, right? So this automatically wires up all of those API endpoints that you see here for you based on the A to A specification. Super, super clean, right? And then I also map an agent discovery endpoint that gives me back all of the agents in an agent card list. This is something that's not in spec yet, but I think that this will be coming eventually. I think the next iteration of A to A spec. So to show you how all this works together, right now I have this up and running, which it is, running inside of I do have Aspire. I can't run a project without Aspire nowadays. It's one of those things, Bruno. Once you get used to it, it's so hard to go back.
I know. I literally set up everything in Aspire right now to have traces and orchestration and more. Even if it's just a crappy whatever, Aspire needs to be there for me.
Yeah, I even have it deploy my chat models and everything for me. It's incredible. But as you can see here, we see, and so you'll see I actually have two different versions of a host factory, and I'll talk a little bit about why that is here in a minute. But what I wanted to do was show, let's see, I need to find Lucy. Where is she? There she is, Lucy. Okay. So basically, when I go to add an instance of Lucy here, I just have to point Lucy to the repository URL. So that's this /agents endpoint, and she'll discover every agent in the system. All right. So then from there, I can then pick which agent I want. Let me her to use this one. So you'll see here I have a list of agents. Right now, I haven't built my orchestration agent that will connect to all of the smaller agents yet. But the nice thing is, because of the way I'm doing this, it lets me build out the smaller agents one at a time, test them out, tweak them, without having to invoke the entire chain, because that whole chain can be expensive, costly, slower, that kind of stuff. And it's really nice to be able to just very quickly select, an agent for testing. There's eventually a system prompt template that is future proof stuff that has not come in yet. But basically, I have the assistant here. And so I'm going to split my screen so that you can see, because I don't have a light behind me or anything that would make this really easy for a demo. So instead, I'm just going to, Instead, I'm just going to go to the light dashboard so you can see when I turn on and off a light. So for instance, I can tell the light assistant, and it does say it can't control it at home. It can, because because the agents have the ability to make direct calls to Home Assistant themselves instead of using the Home Assistant SDK to send the call back. It's much faster this way. So instead, I can say, turn on the office lights. Oops. And so what you'll see here is, let's see, back over here. And of course, the fun of all this, yeah. Oh. All right. Warm up calls. Yay. Okay. So Office is going to be, up here, right? So it only turned on the white light. So let's see, turn on the Office yellow light. And you'll see this yellow light should go on here in a second. Yep, and there we go. And I can very easily turn off both office lights. And it turned off the white one, but not the yellow. But obviously, as you can see, the office yellow light, it needs more tweaking, more prompt control, that kind of stuff. But the goal is I have these little things, right? And so this is a device built by a company called Future Proof Homes called the Satellite One. And it has a small microcontroller board on it. It's an ESP32, I believe. And my thought is, my goal is to replace Alexa and all the others with this. And so I have, if I can pull it out without breaking off. Okay. Let's pull it off. So I have this one here, and it's wired up to a speaker.
Sorry to interrupt, but you have here Vinay saying that they also have those. Very cool.
Yeah, so I have this wired up to a speaker under my desk. And so let me see if I can get this to work here. That should be okay. And I have one also set in my bedroom, but let me let that boot up. I'm going to switch Lucy over to my music agent and show you that Lucy can also shuffle Nine Inch Nails to the Office satellite. Let's see if she'll work. You probably won't be able to hear. Yeah. Let's see. Shuffle nationals to, let me go. I always forget what the name of this is. And this is one of those fun things about agentic software development, is that it's always fun trying to learn what things you need to kind of build into your prompt versus what you need to control through, various other means. Let's see. That should be in Zach's office. Okay. So let's see. The bedroom. There we go. Zach's office. Okay. So Zach's office. Let's try Zach's office satellite 1. To Zach's office satellite 1. Let's try that. Yeah, it's fun. Okay. Shuffle music to the bedroom. Let's see if it'll play in the bedroom. It's yay. Fun of dangerous demos, right? So yesterday,
demos. This is what's happened. But I love the idea, and what I really love, sorry to interrupt, is that I didn't know, and this is also the important part, is that even Home Assistant, which is an open source project to do your home automation and stuff, it's following these standards. So learning about this and using a framework that follow the standards, like you mentioned, A2A, MCP, and more, it's super important in terms that, I'm sorry, the even Home Assistant doesn't sound good, but this is a home enthusiast project and more. I didn't know that they have AI. I need to go with Home Assistant. I have a special relationship. I go back and forward every couple of years because I set up everything in my Docker container and more. Then I get bored, didn't maintain. So but didn't know that they have this. I will give it a try right now because I like that if they have this approach, it will be easy for me to start to try and play around with C# agent framework to start to do this. And hey, we have here Moon saying that non-deterministic testing. Yeah, yes,
exactly. Yeah, you find yourself doing that more often than not when you're building.
Oh yes, now it's a mess. How do they call this? What is the name of this on that? How it's crazy good. And I love the idea, and I love the project. I hope. Sadly, we don't have more time to talk about that, but hey, this is a real example, and you are literally cooking this right now. Yes, you started with this in the last week or so. Yes, that's cool.
Yeah. I started with this migration last weekend, this past weekend. So Saturday is when I actually started converting this over to Agent Framework. So it's been 4 days, and I've rebuilt it. One of the things that you'll see is I had that 2 different hosts. One of those hosts was my old solution, which the funny thing is, so if you look at the way that I was registering agents and setting up the agent registry and stuff like that, and this was kind of why I left it behind, is I wanted to show I was mapping all of those endpoints myself manually and building out the A to A support myself, because none of this was in semantic kernel, right? So you had to build out the entire SDK yourself. All of this code has now been replaced with just that one line in the discovery extension where it basically says map it.
That's amazing.
I spent so much time building out the A to A spec to just try and get everything up and running, and then they come behind and replaced all of that code with one line.
That's amazing. Let me go back to a couple of questions that we have here, because we only have 3-4 more minutes. And let me remove your screen so we can talk about this. And we have here, I think we talk about a little in the chat with these questions about any difference between using an agent or just calling an AI and asking the question. Hey, there are some scenarios where if you can do this with just a simple LLM call, go for it. Don't use an agent. So that's kind of an easy way to do that. An agent is more when you have, in my head, is when you have a scenario where you're going to use tools, where you're going to have external resources and more. But if a single LLM call can help you, Microsoft Extension for AI, semantic kernel can help you to do that. So I don't know. I think that's an easy way. I don't know, Zach, do you have any thoughts on this?
Well, I was going to say, especially when you want to go asynchronous, right? When you want to build any sort of asynchronous process, that's when you know you need to leave behind the old school AI processes and move to an agent.
Oh, that's cool one. I'm going to add into my notes. Yes, the async scenario is for agents. I love that one and more. So we talk about the built-in memory with the framework. Right now, I don't see anything unless you get support from semantic kernel and other libraries. But let me go. Let me go back
in the
on that
docs.
one.
They have a couple of like I think examples of like how to wire it up to MongoDB and stuff like that, if I remember correctly. But
yes,
I don't think there's a provider out of the box.
And again, this literally was presented last week, so I'm guessing that we are cooking more samples and samples and samples as soon as where we are talking. So that is going to come soon. Rabbit has a good one, and semantic kernel and AutoGen go away. No, they are going to keep existing because they have different. And also, AutoGen came from the research team, so they are researching and testing an approach and stuff. So it's kind of a research project. And semantic kernel has their own LLM way to be and more stuff. So no, they are not going to go away. This is just a very specific framework with the best stuff that we have here and there for agents. So that's it. And the last one that I have here, I'm sorry if I missed something, is how lightweight is this framework? Could we see it utilized as part of an app or on a phone with a local LLM? I don't see why not, but I will probably be careful about how far you want to go using, I don't know, maybe a model with Onyx, an Onyx extension.
The biggest problem you're going to run into there is most of the models that are going to run on a phone are like 3 billion parameters or less. And once you hit that level, you're going to find tool calling just does not function.
Yes.
So at that point, you're really overkilling yourself for using an agent framework because you're not going to get any extra functionality.
Yes, it's going to be great for doing summarizations and doing translation maybe with a small 5.4 mini model. But yes, if you add tool calling, I don't know a small model that does tool callings. Maybe Llama 3.2, it may fit there. But yes, tool calling is going to be the challenge there. I haven't think about that since Zach about this. So hey, we are at the end of the hour. I want to be very respectful with everyone. Once again, thanks a lot, Zach. This was amazing. Oh my God, time flies.
Absolutely, yeah.
This was great, and your project is super cool. I love it.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun building it. So.
Yes, and I'm sure that we probably are going to do a V2 of Agent Framework next month because more things are going to come and more. So thanks, everyone. See you in 15 days. I hope I'm going to be back there. And the cleaning lady is not here yet. The cleaning crew is not here yet, so we are fine. No extra noises here. Goodbye, everyone. See you next one. Bye, Zach.
Bye.